Okay, so how actually we're going to overcome that kind of way to presenting our drawings here. Okay, this is some examples there. Okay, let's say you're doing this kind of circle line over here, all right, and you seem to add a little bit kind of shadings there, right? Okay, I'm using this kind of shading there. This is what we call the cross-hatching shadings there. Okay, let me show you guys basically my hands how actually the shading works. Right, cross-hatching shadings there. That means when I use this kind of shadings to this side, to the right side of the shapes, that means the light came over here, there, right? The source of light. So logically, so how actually I'm going to make this, because we're using the strokes line for to develop our first kind of what we call that structures of frame or strokes there, okay, for our drawings there. So we have to combine a little bit kind of a drawing, sketch kind of strokes or line there, okay, to indicate this kind of structures there. If you're just doing outline and shades or shadings, they will look a little bit more like a little bit kind of off from the values that you want to show, right? The quality of those drawings are going to be dropped a little bit because they look like a floating kind of shapes, okay? There is no kind of ground on over there, okay? So how actually I'm going to imitate those kind of illusions. So the thing is right now, what you can do, you can add a little bit kind of suggestions, kind of look for the shadows there. You see that? This is how actually I'm doing these kind of drawings based on my imaginations. Okay, the near kind of shadows, okay, from the shapes of from the objects are going to be a bit more darker, right? As they actually grow further from the objects are going to be a bit more softer, right? So those are basically the logic if you want to add some sort of stroke for the shadows there. So if you take a look at these pictures there right now, right, you can see that object basically is actually stayed on the ground there. It doesn't show that the objects look like floating there, okay? So later on, if you want to add some shadows there, for example, all right, from here, right? I'm not using lasso tools to add some shadings there, or to add what we call that my areas of shadows there, right? Particularly right now, all right. I'm using a very raw kind of what we call that shading kind of styles there. And then what I can do, I can add a little bit kind of cast shadows from the ground there, right? Okay? Just to blend a bit there. Okay, we are going to do this kind of what we call that exercise for next week, right? So if you take a look basically back again, right, how actually I construct the shadows line, I even can use, okay, if I use the small kind of sizes there, okay, for the brush size, I can use also some sort of throw etching for the suggestions of the shadows there, okay, mix them up. Right, the idea about this exercise basically for last week is want to get to know to develop our understanding about how actually I'm going to operate the line there. Adding the shadows mixed up with the other brushes to add some shadows is only a bonus kind of what we call that method that you guys can explore on your own that case, right? Okay? So if you take a look at these pictures here, right? Can you see the connection between the shadows and shapes there? You can see this is the full circle of sphere there, right? Okay? Even though we don't use those outline there. But when we add outlines, all right, can you see there, okay, how actually I show the depth of field of this object there using the line, all right? So So I'm using a quality of line that combined together with the strokes. Quality of line means, okay, there's a number of thickness and thinness of those lines, okay. So those are the proper kind of methods that we want to apply in our drawings there, all right? Because they will show you guys the value and volumes there. Volumes mean, okay, there's a different kind of densities of the strokes that show the illusion of the depth of fields there. Even though you don't understand yet, it's okay. Mine kind of what we call that way of learning these kind of methods when I first time what we call that, like you guys are, okay, learning all these kind of new methods there, okay. I'll also take quite some time there to understand it, but the difference between how actually I develop those understand or not, when I actually finish class, I will do a lot of exercise from here to develop a bit more kind of understandings. And also in my times we also have some sort of discussions there with friends, because I click with most of the friends who actually really want to improve their skills there, not just chit chat about some other thing like games, music, or whatever it is, okay, who not actually quite look into our my kind of what we call that way of learning, okay. I'm not saying I'm actually nerd there, okay, but when I actually learn new things, especially the thing that I love most, okay, drawing or illustrations, right, okay, or arts, right, okay, I will focus on it, okay, at the time that I really focus on it because I really want to improve my skills there, okay, because I see a lot of people who actually can draw better than me, who have more exposures than me, okay. Normally, white space areas you won't paint some of the time there, but depending on the way that we get to paint the whole images of these pictures here, okay. So at the times I'm using only 4 or 3% sometimes of the flows. Didn't change much for the grayscale colors over here, and I'm going to use basically, right, soft brushing basically depend on which area that you want to paint it, okay. If you use a very huge kind of area, sometimes you need to cover a little bit kind of huge kind of spot over here there, okay. You see that? So depending on how actually you're going to cover some of the areas here, and learn to control basically those strokes, the pressures line and strokes there. That's the most important thing, right? If you want to develop your skill using those tablets, and also the choices of brushes there. If I'm going to use what we call that hard brushes like this, right? Hard brushes like this, right? I will try to practice to learn to control my kind of strokes here, right? If I make mistake right here, I'm using erasers, okay? Change the size, and then I'm going to erase a bit like this. Right. Digitals, we allow to use erasers there. Brush to refine back again our line. If you just can get this kind of strokes and line, and then cover a bit with some sort of like strokes there, okay? Why actually I'm using this kind of strokes there, like diagonal curve kind of flows of strokes there, because the shapes of these objects here is basically round there, curved line there. It's not like this one there or this one there, right? A lot of people make mistake when they draw shadings, they start to draw like this one, right? Even though there's a few kind of what we call that demonstrations that use this kind of methods there, but they will get a little bit more confused. Yeah. See, can you see the difference there, okay? The line and strokes over here, right? which one basically look more aesthetical, have a lot of more aesthetical and look a little bit more like understanding that, okay, when it comes to drawing strokes. Right? Which one there, okay? If you see the comparison, even though there's a lot of things we can actually improve from here, but when you actually have to learn entirely from zero there, okay, to get this kind of strokes and lines, to achieve this kind of strokes and lines, is really what we call that worth it there, okay? Rather than you just draw simply like this, okay? Okay, if someone actually still draw like this, you see my hand, how I actually move my hand, right? Press the line and then you still draw like this one there, right? For example there, guys, I will recommend you guys to redraw back again. So when you draw, you try to control this, try the strokes there. Try to develop basically some sort of understanding there, okay? To control your line in the right way there, okay? Make it a very soft kind of stroke there. I know it's quite hard there, okay? The only thing that you can do sometimes, you can adjust the flows. Don't adjust the opacity yet, adjust the flow, and choose the right kind of brushes that will works. Right brushes that will works. New versions and also sizes also matters there. If you use 40 point, 30 point, 20 points, 10 point are going to be different kind of strokes there. See? For all medium wet flow brush. My kind of brush that I use basically is here there, right? You can actually download them if you want to. All medium wet flow there, right? Brush. Because I think new versions of Photoshop doesn't have this brush that you have to download, or maybe you can click to the brush windows menu and go to new brushes, all right, to find some of the brushes there. Maybe you can actually, sorry there, I can load brushes there, right? You can see some of the brushes inside the Photoshop, right? When you install the Photoshop preset there, right? You can install right here, okay? Right in Adobe Photoshop 7. This is my 7 there, right? Okay, I'm not using CC or CS there, okay? Preset brushes folders, okay, paste right here there, okay? Inside those Photoshop brushes there. All right. So that's how you do. But for most of the students actually use the new versions, you have this kind of brushes there. KYLE, if I use the Kyle, Ultimate. Okay, any brush there, like pencils, hard pencils, charcoals, brushes, right? Maybe paintbrush, maybe the right. Paint. Right. So all these brushes have a very good kind of values that we can actually use, feature and that we can use to explore back again our drawing stroke or our drawing skills there, using the drawing skills of method of drawing skills that work. But make sure you change the size there at the same time. Okay, guys? Any questions so far? Any questions? No. All right. See, demo there. So what basically we are going to do this week? I already give you guys some challenge there, right? Okay. First of all, if you have saw the choice of pictures that I give you guys for this week, right? When you actually open up your kind of what we call that canvas, make sure you understand the pictures are going to be in portrait or landscape format there, right? Okay, portrait or landscape there, right? Okay, if the pictures like this dog picture is a portrait format, okay, so use a portrait format to draw back again this dog, right? This pictures there. If the picture that you choose basically came from landscape like this, for example, okay, it's not suitable going to use what we call that these pictures in this format. What you need to do, you need to go into this landscape format and paste right here, okay, and scale. So remember that, guys, okay, two different kind of formats there to use, and scales in the right way. Reduce the opacities, add new layers, save the file opacity. This one, reduce opacities, right? Then open up new layers and save the files directly. You see these files are going to be all right. So let's go into this kind of exercise. This week exercise entirely that we focus on how actually you draw the line back. Why? Because without having enough kind of understanding there, if you still draw like this, okay, this is the wrong way to draw. All right, remember that. So what we need to do, of course, because this exercise is basically to develop basically our way of using those tablet there first. We're talking about structures. At the moment, we don't actually focus on that. But if you want to study the structure, basically, this is the thing that we need to understand is the shapes of the dot based on the circles, 2 circles, 3 circles, 4, 5 triangles. See? The shapes of the dogs over here, right? The line of actions, it came from, it could be a boxes or oval kind of shapes, if I'm not mistaken here, right here. Like a triangle, see like this. Alright, I made basically this kind of shape there. See? This is one of the way basically we can actually analyze the shape packaging. We need to understand first how to see things in all the structures here. Before we're going to draw them. If you take a look like, is it like a teddy bear there, right? But basically we are not drawing teddy bear. We understand the basic structures first. All houses, building that people made, architect made already, they have the foundations. Without the foundations, the buildings are going to be collapsed. Same goes to our knowledge and understanding when we want to start to draw. We need to have this kind of basics understanding there. But because of you guys have had to learn back to back, right? To develop your skills at the same time, to develop your understanding there, right? Okay, to work with those kind of basic structures, right? Of your subject matters here. So that means we need to do a lot of exercise here, right? According to those studies there, right? Okay? So we need to understand all these kind of basic structures first. Even though by working with the structures, I'm not going to draw the line like this. Some people will draw like this. They don't know what to do basically, right? They simply draw there, right? This is also not the right way basically to develop those understanding. Even though it's quite hard basically for you guys to digest, as I told you guys. you need to what we call that, but at the same time you need to seek for more information, right? Because we cannot rely on only our 2-hour session or half an hour sessions, right? That you will actually know everything that you want to know about to develop the understanding there. They will take a lot time there, okay? So the skill of developing your kind of understanding, it has to be do it all the time there, okay? Every day there, okay? Don't rely only 1 or 2 days to develop this kind of skills there, right? So now zoom in. If I want to start to draw, okay, there's a two way of working, okay, with this kind of drawing there. We call it a observation drawing exercise using continuous line, right? Where to start is up to you. If I want to start right here, see the way I move my hands, right? I'm using a very continuous line there, but my line is very soft there, right? Very soft kind of lines over here. I'm using a shadow shapes. Can I see the shadows areas over here, right? That to define some of the areas, right? To develop the illusion of the depths of fields and also the dimensional of this drawing there, of this object there, right? When I draw. See? Can you see the way that I draw right now? Right. I'm using those kind of volumes of line, strokes. Not to trace, guys, okay? Remember that, okay? There's a two different thing between tracing and drawing. If you trace, you will trace every single hairline over here, but I'm not. I just indicate my kind of understanding by improvising what I saw, but by the same time, I'm actually use a reference to indicate the structure's line or strokes. Okay, for this dog there, okay, I'm creating my kind of analytical kind of studies there, using the line only. You see that? Using the line only there. Two words. So if I want to draw the eyes, my hands are going to be continuous to draw the shapes there, right? See? Draw the eyes there, the pupil and the iris there, right? Highlights over here. So this is very good kind of exercise. Workout there, right? Okay? You go to the gym, if you play sports there, right? Okay? If you play basketball there, for example, there, right? This is a very good kind of workout that basically you guys can actually use it as a part of the intensive kind of exercise to develop your kind of understanding back again. So I'm continue to draw these areas, even though a traditional methods normally we are not actually allowed to draw, right? Pick up those pencils there, take off those pencils before we finish them. But you cannot see the nostril over here there, right? But it's okay. So don't draw something that you cannot see at the moment, but you guys can improvise basically the line back again. Okay, remember one thing. The aesthetical kind of values there. Aesthetical values mean the art kind of what we call that presentations there. People say, okay, what is it? This is art, this there, right? The kind of works that it's not that, right? The value of aesthetical kind of understanding from this, right? Kind of exercise here. Okay, this is the tongue. I cannot see the teeth there over there, right? Okay, so but if you draw this area there, right? It's just like drawing back again and mapping the line and then and stroke for this puppy there, right? See, where I control my hands here. They are going to be a little bit more like your hands are going to be a little bit tired, right? To move this kind of line there. Look like I'm just scribbling my hands there, but it's not there. Right? I'm following every single what we call that any kind of identify any kind of details that I can see from this picture here. Okay? From these pictures that I can do. But my line, basically, if you take a look there, right, is very loose kind of line. I try to develop also the quality of line according to the structures here. Okay, if you close these pictures there, okay, this is what you get. Right, that's why I say, right, quality of line drawings there. Every single line and strokes you have, you can see a number of quality of line based on one picture here. Based on one picture here. Always zoom in there, please. Don't draw the outline first. Okay? Some people actually try to draw the whole outline at first, like this. Right, this is not the outline drawings there. This is a drawing strokes there. Right, be patient. Right, this kind of drawing also, this kind of tactic of exercise also, it will, right, they will train you guys to be patient a bit, okay? Because a lot of people nowadays, because you guys were exposed with a lot of apps there right nowadays. Everything can be developed by doing a very single click. All right, by using a very single click there. So if you thought that, okay, if you learn graphic design or multimedia design, right, everything just click and then complete there, right? But it's not. Okay, so it's not going to work that way. If you want to develop your kind of learning experience and understanding to develop your skills in illustrations there. Reading or look at things without doing directly, they are not going to improve your way of working. If you take a look closely, all right, there's nostrils over here. There, see? All right, there's a nostrils over there. That's why you have to look closely to the pictures there. Look closely to the pictures when you draw there, okay? How about the eyes over here? I think there's the eyes over here. Right? I'm going to use a very thick kind of line there, right? Even though it's not going to see clearly, but using your observations there, that we call observation exercise. And you can see the eyes over there. All right? This is what we call our observations there. Exercise. All right? Same goes, you're going to draw buildings. You're going to do the same thing, but the methods are working a little bit different there. This one we're using a lot of very zigzag kind of line like this, right? Okay? Continuous line drawings there. Right, we're using a contour line drawing there, right? Okay? Kind of techniques that you use. Okay, yes. Okay. So if you go into this exercise, okay, these buildings, they're going to be using the same methods, but the methods of drawing it are going to be a bit different now. A bit different. Because when you want to control the line over here, you see there how it's actually going to work there. See? Not doing the outline only there. See that? The way of my hands. Every single, what we call it, some of the structures line that you can solve from here, that you want to study using those structures, using those line drawing there, go with it. Right? Of course, this version, I don't have those rotate button, right? Rotate canvas button there. But I can use my kind of, right, the skill that we have, one stroke at a time, to develop this kind of understanding here. Slowly move your hands right here and also controlling your stroke back again. Yeah. Right? But of course, I'm still want to emphasize that I'm not actually trace them the whole thing. I'm using these subject matters, this kind of subject matters there to study those line and strokes to construct this drawing back again. You see that? How actually I managed to work with those lines. Yeah. You didn't have to draw the whole thing, huh? Draw the subject matters only there first, okay? Like this areas basically has different kind of structures there, right? Okay, perspective there, right? The good thing about these drawings, you don't have to worry about how actually we're going to learn about perspective here. It's okay. So we focus more on the line there first. See where I move my hands here? It's just like scribbling there, but it's not. Right? So this is a good practice there. For me, basically, right, I have experienced before, right? It's very good practice there. We just have to follow basically the line, but at the same time, we improvise them back. See? Because we'll actually saw, right, the different kind of way of using our hands that to move around the shapes there, right? And conduct the line there, see? So this is some of the parts of the, right, wood, I get from these pictures, from this, what we call that, cabin there, right? See? My hands will be fatigued there, right? You know, because of this exercise. Everyone going to feel the same thing, right? They're going to be a little bit like not comfortable a bit, right? Your hands are going to feel a bit more like uh, crammed a bit there, right? So these are reflections, soft reflections line there that I'm going to draw from there. So the traditional methods that working with this kind of drawings, okay, normally back in the days, okay, this is reflections of the tree. They're using a tracing light tables there to work with this kind of drawings, and then add some colors on that, right? That's what I say, right? Right now, if you say that you cannot draw, my kind of understanding of working with this kind of subjects, they're right. I believe that everyone can draw. Okay? Everyone basically can draw. You see the quality of line that we look into with this exercise, all this kind of drawing exercise that we want to do for this week. Okay? Yeah. So it will train you guys, your hands that to move. It will train also your methods of working. Okay, when you draw, when you start to do this exercise, don't just simply trace them. Use your mind, your eyes, your hands to coordinate together there, right? The coordination is there. You have to build up your way of coordinate these three elements there, okay? These three part of your bodies there, right? Okay? Your senses there, right? To develop this understanding. Because people who can draw well, people who actually can draw and fit well, or develop their own creativities with drawings, they're right. Because they know how to coordinate between these three different parts of their body, they're right. The senses there. So for the beginners, basically, it's a good start for you. For those who actually can draw well, don't be too lazy there, right? Whatever that you guys know doesn't mean that you're going to survive in outside world. Right? So learn, sit down and learn back again the fundamental, not basics, fundamental way of working to develop your skill in multimedia or design, art and design kind of courses there. Okay, name it. Okay, if you show this kind of drawings at any kind of art schools, I will show you guys they also experience the same thing. Right? I can bet you guys. Okay, how many durian you want to eat? Okay, that every art schools in this entire world doing the same methods to build up students fundamental kind of understanding, develop the skill of understanding there. That's why I'm here directly. I've been paid, right, to expose you guys these methods. Okay, so because I have a few kind of students basically, okay, not you guys, okay, recently directly have all this kind of things that, yeah, I can do more better than my own kind of way of drawing and skills there. But why are you here? Ask that question back again. Why are you here then? Are you here because you just want to have the certificate only? Or you want to increase a bit more kind of your kind of skills there, okay? Beyond what you know there, okay? But if you think that you can draw better characters in manga or drawing there, okay? Just pursue your dream to develop your own content in the early stage there. Doing your own comics, doing your own kind of fan art kind of illustrations, put it in your social medias there, get more fans, get more kind of link, like, and also subscribers there, okay? And make money out of it. But if you think that you can draw but you still cannot make money out of it, learn back again the fundamental kind of way of working because they're going to be worth it. They are going to be worth it for those who actually can draw or have the package to draw. If you guys learn new things, you guys develop new kind of way to versatile your skills, you will get the benefit from it later on. Okay, we never know that. Okay, but I know basically. You know right now, maybe right. It looks ridiculous. There are some people that say, but why I'm here basically, right? Because I'm eligible enough for to train you. All right, guys, because I'm actually have that kind of ability to train people. All right, you guys seen basically some of my recent works there, okay? Some of the client works that I did before. All right, so those are the things that I bring to you guys here. That's why I train my students directly. But the best thing that I find from these semesters, even though we're not working with the traditional medias, they're right. Because your generations are going to be more go into digital there. Go into digital kind of world there. So you guys been exposed and trained to develop your digital skill. First year, first semesters, next semesters, hopefully they're okay. You guys can improve it more and find your own styles of working there. Okay? Find your own styles of working there. So I really have a very good kind of feelings and also what we call that like potential that I feel from you guys that you guys each one of you guys can develop your own individual skill based on our training here. That's why this is one of the first earliest kind of exercise. I really want you guys to focus there. All right. So focus and take serious on this exercise there, especially for those who have lack of skills. Zero, hero there. Okay, guys, remember that. You want to become a zero to hero, not hero to zero there, okay? People who become zero to hero because they're stubborn enough to change. They thought they're good at it, but they end up normally they're okay. They don't actually go anywhere there. Okay? I'm talking based on experience there. So be humble, be precise, focus on what you're doing. You will achieve that because I'm doing the same thing, right? Like you guys basically when I was like your age, right? Your age, right? I'm really focused to work. Okay, So please, there, okay, to work with it. This is very good exercise there. A little bit back again, your kind of understanding there. Okay, so I'll give you guys 16 of photos there, all right, that you guys can work this week. But if you say to me, okay, let's just say you have completed all the 16 drawings, and you say, sir, can I actually draw more? I want to draw the thing that I want. Go ahead. Anything that you find possible for you to draw, go ahead, okay? But make sure you use the same methods first. All right. But if you just want to show me, okay, so I want to show a bit more on my skills, right? Based on my kind of styles that works, go ahead. At least we can actually learn from there. Right. I always learn a lot from the students there. But the point is right now, how much time do you spend to draw that drawings and how much time that I actually introduce guys to draw this one. Like these drawings, basically, we focus entirely, I think around maybe half an hour, so you can complete there, okay, one drawing. Okay, one drawing there. Even though the techniques basically is not that the same as you thought before. Okay? But as I told you guys, this is one of the best methods to develop your kind of confidence using the tools. But make sure you install the drivers and also develop and also test basically your brushes there, okay? There's a lot of people, okay, one of the students yesterday, she told me that, okay, so I don't have any tablets, so can I actually draw using mouse? If you draw using mouse, our whole kind of objective are not going to be right. We're actually not in our target. Okay, we're not going to hit in our target. Why? If you're drawing using mouse, this is the result that you get. Okay, so you see the quality of line that we want to achieve there. So for those who use tablets but still get this kind of qualities, please check back again your tablet there. Right? So check whether the tablets that you install, you plug the right in, have installed the right kind of driver or software that can be used to get the right kind of strokes on that. Okay? If you can't, check back again. Alright? And of course, right, if you see the arcade, there's a there's a lot of different kind of strokes and line that we can actually combine using this kind of studies there. We study basically back again. Right? Study basically back again. If you check look back again, how actually I move my hands around here, I'm doing a very soft kind of strokes there. Not press a lot there. And draw one step at a time. Learn to control basically your kind of what we call that process and learning that kind of understanding there, okay? And develop your kind of sensitivity, all right? To see the difference between the line there. So if I want to draw some etching line like this there, right? That means I'm going to indicate some of the shadows areas there, see? The shadows areas there. Shadows areas, right? Some of the line like this, basically just to indicate, right? The lines doesn't look clean a bit, okay? They have a very drawing kind of strokes line there. See? Very soft kind of line there. Right. For newbies or beginners who actually want to learn about drawings, right, focus when you move your hands there, okay? Right, artistical kind of what we call that understandings can be trained. As long as you know how to control your kind of line there, okay? And strokes. Okay? Any questions so far? I can see your voice today there, right? You guys can see my presentation there, right? Right. My screen presentation, you guys can see there, right? If I have no download Mr. Tools, what tools we can use to shade there, right? Mr. Tool, what is it already? I use the pencil to shade my work actually. What do you mean by that, Michi? Download tools. Taichun, what is it there, right? No? What do you mean that? I can't understand that, right? I use the pencil to shade the work actually, right? Digital pencil or tablet there, right? If you use the older versions, basically the older versions, normally the older versions, Photoshop, like Photoshop CS, okay? I think they have those all with the wet flow brush, okay, the brush that I use, right? Soft brushes for shadings at the meantime, but we can use different kind of brushes, those basically to shading there. But if you basically use, for example, like drawing pen, all right, drawing pen there, right? Let's just say you're using a drawing pen that works. Let's see. Okay, drawing pen, all right. If I want to draw them, this is the way that I move my hands. Oops. Yeah. Right. The line drawing are going to look like, for example, if I want to draw, right? Let's just say I want to draw my face, right? Using the continuous line there. This is what we call continuous line drawing. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is what we call continuous line drawing there, right? And I'm going to draw the eyebrow. Of course, this drawing doesn't look fine there. But the thing is, whether you can actually draw back again your face or not. Okay? Lips. It's just like a scribbling drawing, it's not a scribbling there. Right? So what we call that, normally we are going to do a lot of this exercise there, right? Okay? Manually to develop students' kind of skills there, okay? Especially the student who actually doesn't have enough kind of confidence to draw using the pen or ball pen, right? Okay? We're using this kind of methods of drawings a lot, okay? To indicate the structures of line like this, right? Okay? We're not going to draw like normal kind of people draw like this one, right? This is a dirty drawing there. A dirty drawing there, right? Okay? This is a continuous line drawing, right? Continuous line drawings. Okay? We're doing the line, right, according to the shapes, and we continuing draw the line before we complete the work. Okay? So that drawing basically we actually have improvised a little bit, okay, using those digital medias, right, to make sure that the newcomers like you guys can actually have a very new experience to develop the skills there, right, that require to develop your understanding in the illustrations world. All right. Otherwise, later on, if you want to go into a little bit more kind of details, like to draw the basic structures there, right? Okay, you won't be able to get it right. Okay, you won't be able to get it right then because they will be hard for you guys. Okay, so let me actually write before I'm going to forget about your attendance and take your attendance first. All right. So far, any questions? You guys have any questions there? We got around 19 people today. Hmm? Anyone have any questions? Any obligations on the techniques? Right, how, unpin, where is it unpin there? Oh, unpin. Thank you there, right? Thank you there, right? Okay. So any kind of what we call that, any questions on the technique itself? No? So hopefully you guys understand how it works there. Who is it that had the questions there? Yes, I didn't understand, okay, Mechi there, okay, about those questions there. You're using pencil to shades your works basically using what? Your traditional pencils or tablets there, right? Tablet there, right? The shadings using soft brushes. I did show you guys previously, right, on the previous video last week, basically how it works, right, for shadings there, okay? Because using soft brushes is one of the easiest way, but controlling the flows there, okay? Adjust the flows at the same time when you want to use soft brushes there, okay, to work. At the moment, I just suggest you guys to work with the soft brushes there. Maybe next week, right? You can use different brushes if you want to, right? On the soft brushes there, right? But change, right, the flow until 3% or 2%, for example, there. So you can see the difference. But soft brushes, they require a huge kind of size of brushes size there, okay? I'm using 500 sometimes depending. Sorry there. Okay. One of the way basically that I always use, right, to develop my understanding on shadings. Only if we draw some ellipse shapes over here like this, don't forget add images there. And I want to paint the shadows there, right? See? Easily we can get the shadows right here. Highlight shadows there. See? Mm. See? Using the shadings techniques there, okay? And understand the light and shadows kind of what we call that exercise there, okay? To works. Right. I'm using basically another oval kind of shapes, right? Like here. Adjust the new layers and then again paint them, right? To make it the objects look like not floating, right? Inside those, right? On the floor there, okay? But this area is transparent there, right? What we can do, we can delete these areas here. Okay? Yeah. I'll actually delete these areas. Right. How I delete these areas? I'm using different layers there to use. different layers that it works. Zoom in a bit more, which erases, right? Add some detailing there, right? This is one of the ways, but not the only way to work with this kind of techniques. There's a lot of ways that I will introduce to you guys. But this is one of the methods that normally we use manually, right? Using those charcoals there, soft pastels there to work there. Yeah, but it's dark there. I think my traffic. Why don't you change basically the flow there, right? Okay, change the percentage there, right? Okay, of the flow, right? To 3%, for example, and you can see the difference. Okay, but add new layers first before you're going to paint on top or below the layers of the drawings there. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if you seem to saw a bit to see, you have to make sure that you can actually saw your improvement from the first week exercise, second week exercise, and the third week exercise, and the following week exercise, okay, all the time there. Because we need to develop this kind of improvements from time to time, okay? So you have to make sure that you notice where basically your mistakes, how to overcome them back, develop your kind of understanding while you draw, and look into a new way to coordinate between your, because you the one who actually can control. I don't believe that, okay, some people say to me that, okay, they still cannot get the right kind of way of working with their strokes. All right, I think uh, the most issue that we have as an individual is you don't actually develop enough kind of patience there, right? And patience. Because it's like playing sports, badminton, right? Or any kind of physical kind of activity skills there. You need to have patience, passions, and the right kind of chemistry between your body there right, to works. Right. The only way that you guys can improve by practice every day. Repeat doing the same thing, develop those kind of energy, chemistry, right? From those exercise every day. Don't wait there. Right? Don't wait. If you do it every of these 16 drawings last minute, for example, like you want to submit next week, there, right? Suddenly, what you did, um, you just drawing this morning there, for example, there, right? Or last night, every 16 drawings. You won't be able to get the results, right? You won't be able to get the result from there, okay? Because this kind of skills, illustration skills, or design skills, there basically, there, right? Okay, design skills. It's not takes overnight to achieve that. Okay, when you talk about design, learning design again, if everyone, of course, everyone can design nowadays. Everyone has the sense of design there. But the thing is, why are you doing here? There's a reason why you're doing here. If we just can teach you guys just use tools only, software that actually works. Okay, this Photoshop, do this and do this, right? Okay, this tool is for this one. You can get this kind of short courses for 3 days, for example, there, learning Photoshop. Then you can edit the pictures, you can do something a little bit there, here, there, and then you just learn it on your own there. Why you have this kind of trainings? Because we don't train people just to use apps. You don't train people just to use tools there. You don't train people just to use applications there, right? Or software operations there, operators there. We train people to develop their design sense. As simple as that. Design sense in terms of multimedia disciplines. That's why you spend your times, your money, your life within 1.5 years to learn all this kind of discipline together there. So the drawing skills, illustration skills is a part of the core discipline. Okay? Remember that. You saw a lot of people at the Instagram, for example, there, right? Okay, I don't want to touch this kind of drawings. It's an early stage there that I saw from your progress. But from here we can see, okay, the line is were there, but not enough kind of drawing strokes, okay? Alrighty. So work on that more. So it's a good start there. It's a good start there, okay? Make sure you get the light kind of strokes there to work there. You saw, okay, this one there, okay? This guy, okay, Bo Xuan there, okay, kind of Bo Xuan there. When she actually write down the, what we call that, signatures there, okay? It shows basically she has a confidence there. Same goes to drawings there. Anyone who can actually sign in like this using those tablets, that means you can draw. Don't worry. You just have to develop your kind of confidence at a time there, right? Okay? So be patient on it. So if you watch some of the samples, right, that I get from, okay, you saw from those from the internet, right? Okay? For example, like this is a good start, but it's not good enough. It's okay. So we are going to polish a little bit from there. But if you trigger the Behance or Pinterest, then maybe later on, right? Okay, if you watch most of the illustrations right now, okay, all these kind of illustrations, it's more like a Japanese illustrators there, okay, who draw this kind of illustrations. All this kind of understanding of learning of those colors there, they're not using apps. Okay, what tools they use? Photoshop and AI there. Okay, it's two software that they use there. But the difference is they use AI and Photoshop doesn't look like a vector base. Look more like a traditional media, right? Look like they use like color pencil a bit here, drawing pen right here. They use a bit more like a pastel over here, right? So they apply basically the same kind of method that we actually will go into there, right? Okay, guys? See how they design. This is basically a portrait illustrations, but how they design portrait doesn't look like this one. Okay, I don't look like this one there. Right? It's more like a traditional kind of drawings there. All right. It doesn't look like this one again. Okay, what are the mistakes about this drawing here? Can you see the mistakes? Can you see the mistakes? The proportion is not right. Okay? Okay, what are mistakes about this drawing there? So you ask back yourself, okay, the proportion is not right, the alignment not right, the line also doesn't look right. So ask yourself back again, spend the rest of your life to draw like this, or you want to start to draw like this. Okay? And your kind of achievement in the futures, maybe you want to draw like this. Using digitals, you guys can achieve. You guys can achieve that. Right? Just want to say this because it's quite nice there. Okay. So this is one of the samples for illustrations there. What else that we can actually look from here? This is more like a vector-based illustrations. It's more like a semi-cartoon illustrations. It's more like a modern kind of conceptual illustrations. Okay. Using the line there. Using the doodle line also, you can see the quality of line that they produce. Right? So you ask yourself back again, right? You want to end up become a bit more like so kind of design students, or you want to have, you got to have some sort of idol or someone that you guys can look into other than me, right? Other than me there. I have to tell you guys the truth. Why? Because I don't want you guys just to have only your kind of thoughts that I'm the only one actually you have to follow basically exactly what I do there. Okay? I'm just providing you guys some guideline there, okay? Some path there for you guys to go, where you want to go, how actually you want to go there. But you have to talk to yourself who basically you want to be. You want to be someone actually just can draw like this. For example, like this only, right? See? Two different kind of drawings here. You still want to draw like this, right? Or you want to end up draw like this, for example. Okay? So you choose yourself. So for my kind of suggestions, be more diversity and flexible. Okay? Because we are going to head it into a thing that you might going to be like and like manga drawing styles later on. But the point is right now, you want to become people who actually just, like this one, right, have a few mistakes or few kind of not accuracy there. You want person who draws something like this only, this one also looks a bit more weird there, right? Awkward about this drawing there. Why you want to draw something a bit more natural? This one, right? I hate to see this kind of drawings there. If someone who actually draw, actually like a mature kind of guy, right? Okay? If 12-year-old kids draw like this, I'm okay. Okay? But mature people actually have the good understanding about logic, kind of way of working, right? You see some sort of awkward misunderstanding, out of proportions kind of drawing using this kind of drawing. This is what we call, for me, for someone who actually want to draw or learn about anime, manga kind of style, right? For example, there are TV characters kind of works or shonen, right, kind of characters there, right? Okay. If they draw like that, for me, you just want to be there, okay? It's not actually you deep into learn about the techniques in the right way because they have a poor kind of understanding there, okay? Look, it's very simple when you look at things there, but the line and stroke that they draw, it has a very confident kind of line there, okay? Understanding on the strokes and line there. That's why we have to learn about how to control the pressure line in the right way before we want to draw something more like this. Right? Without having a very good control on your line, you won't be able to get it right. Okay? You won't be able to get it right. Trust me on that. Okay? So that's why I really stress you guys to work with that line first. This is the fundamentals there, the structures to develop your skills. Because when you have the very good confidence of controlling, handling the tools, the device, your line, you will have a lot of easiest paths to diversify into any kind of style that you want. So don't tell me this is not my style, I like this style there. You're not eligible enough or way enough to talk about you have the style that you use. Unless you make money out of it. You have make money, you make a living out of it. Okay? That's the truth. So this is all about business there. If you make money out of your styles, for example, right? I'm not teaching you guys. Then you will do whatever you want. Okay, do whatever you want. But I want to bring the best from you. I'm talking about the person who actually has a zero knowledge there. Right? People who can draw or can manage to draw the way that you want the right, okay? You can push a bit more from there. I want you guys to push a bit more from there. All right? Because when I actually start to learn also right, these fundamental techniques, I have the skill also that can provide me to grow. I'm not start from zero there. But the fundamental kind of technique that I've learned will basically change a lot my kind of understanding. I have more kind of clear ideas, the directions, and also handling basically pencil at the time I'm using pencil and charcoal as well. More efficiently there. And I've learned also to draw using ball pen, not because my lectures are, but when I study right, we have the hostel there. We live like a hostel, look like an apartment there, right? Okay? We have 8 people actually learning the same courses, but different department there, right? Okay? Different kind of class there, okay? With us, right? Okay? So I saw one of my friend. Now he actually one of the industrial designers there. He do some idea a lot using 3Ds, but he can draw well. He used ball pen to draw, to sketch his inside the sketchbook there. So I look at this guy there, okay? He draw a lot of his sketches with ball pen already. So I start to explore also using ball pen. So I'm not learning also from my lectures, I'm learning also from my friends. From other people there at the time. We don't have Googles, we only have libraries there. I spend a lot of time in libraries there to seek for a lot of information on the picture book illustrations there. I'm not reading too much, but I'm captured a lot of visual informations by looking at other people's works there. And then I try to develop on my own there. That's how actually I do it. Okay? So you guys also can develop your own way of working there, okay? But I really stress you guys practice every day. Practice every day. That's how actually you can improve. Okay? So Michi there again. Did I answer your questions? If you have the tablet problem, install the driver that first. Alright? How to install the driver? Simple there, right? Okay? Either you can get the driver from the CD there, right? Or maybe there, right? Okay. If you install the right, you can actually go into Pinterest, Wacom, driver, right? Okay. Any models that you want, right? And then you can download from here. Install to your system that way. Any versions, any kind of Windows that you use, okay? If you use Hui on also the same. You have to install the driver first. After you install the driver, then what you can do, you restart your computers, your laptops. After you restart, open up Photoshop, test back again using your tablet. When you draw, when you use tablet writing, you're not actually stuck a little bit, okay? When you draw, you're not stuck a little bit, okay? You can actually draw smoothly. You can get the right kind of strokes there. The brush strokes and line there, okay? You can control the pressures line. That's when you know you basically have installed the right kind of drivers, or your drivers or your tablets are operate in the right way. Okay, normally if you use soft hard brushes also you can get the strokes right. So if I not change the flows using hard brushes, you see I can get the right kind of strokes there. Right. That's how you know basically your drivers works there, your tablet works there. Okay. All right, guys. So if there are any questions, all right. So I'm going to leave it there at the moment.